Oh. Hola, hola amigos.
Let's talk about Spain.
That's as far as my Spanish goes.
So as you guys know, we're on a 6-month-ish adventure of living full-time, working full-time in our van, Campari.
Whoa.
And in this video, we're just going to talk about how the first 2 weeks went. So we were really lucky. We had a week of holiday to start off the adventure and then a first week of full-time work. So let's see how it went.
Yeah, and it was a crazy trip. We went from Germany to all the way to Spain in about 3 days.
Yeah.
Collected lots of bugs on the windscreen.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah. So we decided for chapter 1 of the adventure to go to Spain because I'd never been to Spain and I was really excited to do some hiking in the Pyrenees and just to see what Spain is all about. So yeah, that was our first mission, and it was really cool because my Brazilian sister, a good friend of ours, T, could join us for the first week of holiday. So we road tripped down with Campari and a Tesla. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, she was doing car camping in a Tesla, which was very interesting.
That was very cool. It was cool to see how, anyway, it's our topic of electric cars, but yeah, so we headed down from Luxembourg, and we used the app Park for Night to find a spot along the way before we got to Spain, and ended up camping at a farm. It was really cool. So it's a working farm, but they allow 30 people to camp on the farmlands. We were only 5. It was us 3 and then one other tent.
And there was a tent quite far away, so we had our own spot in this huge open piece of land.
Yeah, and we met the farmers. They're super nice and just really cool to see what their lifestyle is like.
So friendly.
Yeah, so that was in a town called, or close to La Bastide-Murat, or La Bastide-Murat, in the Lot region of France, and that was, yeah, it was really cool. I would have liked to stay for longer, but we were on a mission to the mountains.
We had to get to Spain. We had to.
We had to get to Spain.
So we then headed towards Spain, and we went straight through the mountains, through to Spain, through the Pyrenees. And as we started getting to the mountains, there were just these massive peaks with snow on top, even though the weather was like 25 degrees, just lots of snow. And then we crossed through this tunnel, and the tunnel went for quite a while, but we got to the other side and it looked completely different. So that was the Spanish part of the Pyrenees. And on that side, it was more like, it looked a bit drier and like more jagged peaks, kind of what we thought it might look like.
Yeah, my excitement was next level because I'd wanted to hike in the Pyrenees for way too long.
Janae wanted to jump out of the van and start walking.
I think I was just like constantly dancing before like as soon as we left every morning, because I was so keen to do some hiking, and it was super special to do with our friend as well. So yeah, that next day was actually her birthday, so we got to do a really cool hike. Was recommended by the campsite owners. Yeah. So we hiked up from the little town of Saravillo where we were camping, up quite a bit of elevation, quite a bit of a climb up.
Well over 1,000 meters.
Yeah.
And over a short distance, so it was like.
Yeah, we. No, but it was super cool. Really, really beautiful. We got to this mountain lake, and it was just pristine. Plan de Ibon.
Plan de Ibon.
Yeah, we're gonna butcher all the names, but it's fine. They will forgive us. But it was actually really cool because we walked through Saravillo first, and we were all confident.
Tiny little Spanish village.
Yeah, and we were all confident, like walking through, like, oh, I must be down this way, and then this old Spanish man came out in like his, I don't know if it was his pajamas or whatever, but he was wearing slippers, and he could speak no English, and then luckily like T was using a bit of her Portuguese, like kind of figuring out, and eventually we figured out this man was trying to help us and explain to us we're going the wrong way. But anyway, long story, but it was like a cool introduction to Spanish culture and just how the people were like super helpful, not like, oh, there's tourists in our village, but really like he wanted us to get to the lake in the nicest way, which is cool.
The next day, I was working in the van and I was figuring out the work setup, and Janae and T went for another hike to quite a special area
Yeah, that was cool.
as well. I was sad I missed it, but it was quite cool to figure out the work stuff and how Starlink works and etc.
Yeah, you'll have to do some more videoing on that, I think. Yeah, the second hike was also really pretty. We went to Cascada de Llanos, something. Also recommended by the campsite people. So it was a bit further on in the Odessa National Park. And yeah, the whole hike was super pretty. And then we thought we'd kind of reach the end. We're like, wow, it was really pretty. Like, and then T said, oh, look, it looks like there's some animals over there. And we kept walking. And then right at the end, next to this waterfall, was just this massive field with cows and little baby cows and horses and foals.
Wild
and
horses.
yeah, it was insane. And against this backdrop of these epic mountains and the waterfalls coming down, and yeah, it was.
I just
really
saw the
cool.
photos and videos, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
what did I miss here? But
definitely,
anyways, my day was fun as well.
definitely recommended.
Yeah, and in terms of, we ate really well over those couple of days.
Yeah,
we
we
bought
fried some duck, which
Made
was,
some duck breasts on the fire.
Yeah,
That's amazing. We keep doing it now.
yeah, it's a staple. Yeah, then because we only had a week of holiday and wanted to cover quite a bit of ground, we moved faster than I think we would generally. But we headed down to an area close to Baldellou.
Baldellou, yeah.
Baldellou, yeah, where we stayed close to a really nice lake, and our pitch was really nice. We had a view of the mountain, and then just a little bit down was this big lake where we
Very
could.
nice campsite.
Yeah, we knew the weather was going to get quite hot, so we prioritized being close to water.
I think it was
Which
like
was a great
35
move.
degrees the one day.
Yeah, which was
Yeah.
a great move. So we could paddleboard, and the paddle boarding around there was really cool. So
Amazing.
the landscape was awesome.
Yeah.
So we got to do that. That was really nice, and do some swimming and did a couple of runs there, but it was not easy because it's hot and it's like there's no flat roads. It's just up and down, but it was fun. It's cool to see the.
It's a beautiful area, definitely. That's like in between the Pyrenees and the mainland.
I think we were still on the map. We were still technically in the Pyrenees,
Yes,
but like
yeah.
on the border.
Yeah.
But it was not how I imagined the Pyrenees, but super cool. Yeah, and then we moved on to our last spot of the holiday,
Costa Brava.
Costa Brava.
So we didn't go deep Spain. We kind of hung near the French border.
Yeah, and it was cool, I think, the way that we did it to get a bit of a snapshot of
Yeah.
different elements. And Spain is so big and there's so much we still want to see, but for like a sneak preview of stuff. But yeah, then we went down to Costa Brava and we stayed on the beach of Saint Per Pescador.
Escala.
Yeah, close to Escala,
Yeah.
but the beach.
Oh.
Saint Per Pescador, I think. To be honest, not my favorite spot. The campsite was super well kitted and was really nice, but I think coming
There were a
from
lot
like,
of people.
yeah, coming from the peacefulness of the mountains and really being remote, I was actually a bit overwhelmed. There were suddenly so
This
many
massive,
people.
huge campsite with tons of these bus camper things.
Yeah, it was a bit more like a parking lot, and I think it took me a moment to acclimatize. But the area was really cool. We did some really nice beach hikes. You could walk along the beach for a long time and watch the kite surfers. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how they don't hit each other. It's like mind blowing.
And the Scala village.
Yeah, that was really
little
cute.
town, beautiful.
That was really cute. And then some of the hiking there was actually really nice. It's part of a trail I'd wanted to hike before, where you kind of go in between these little villages hanging on the coast, and then go through like little rocky areas. So we did a bit of that, coming through some pretty villages, and then the town of La Scala, and that was super
Really
cool.
nice.
So I think all in all, the week of holiday was epic. And then we had to start real van life. So like an actual work week. Yes, first week of van life, real van life.
In Estartit. Something just hit me.
In Estartit. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so that was cool. Our campsite was really nice. We had a view of the mountain, and we were really close to a very nice snorkeling spot. So Sunday nights already, we went for a quick little snorkel, just
Quick
to
little
get
dip.
a lay of the
refreshing
land.
dip.
Saw an octopus,
Oh yeah.
but yes, no evidence. We need to fix our GoPro. But yeah, so the first work week, how was that?
Yeah, I think it was better than expected. It was smooth. I wouldn't say it was any different to working from home, except we had a nice scenery, and
Yeah.
we followed our usual routines, starting our day with a bit of.
Except I had some added entertainment, I would say, from my work desk because I was working, and the next thing I just saw Mish popping his head up out of the sky roof, and I didn't know what was going on. And then we couldn't understand why our solar wasn't charging. So the solar on the Jackery was charging, but the solar on the van wasn't. And it's a very dusty area, so
Yeah, there was one downfall. There was a bit of dust in this place.
And then you thought the solar panels were a bit dirty.
Yeah.
And this was so funny to watch because I was working and then I was witnessing him trying to clean it without any of the right equipment for cleaning it, and that was quite entertaining. But and then we were we were trying to figure out whether it had actually made a difference or not. So we kept pressing the button to see how full is it charged. So we're clearly still very newbie-ish at this whole thing.
The thing that made it tricky is that we were kind of in the shade a little bit, so that meant that we had less sun. So it was difficult to figure out if how it was working exactly.
How it was working, what difference it was making, but it was some good entertainment. But there was other entertainment too. I think the area was really nice. I didn't expect Spain to be that busy that time of year, but it seems like everybody goes to the Spanish coast in May, so makes sense. But it was really cool. So we from where we were, we decided to go for a very chilled evening stroll, which ended up going up to the mountain that we were looking at from our Campari spot,
another very steep hike.
Another steep hike, which was not anticipated, but
just a
super
post-work
nice.
steep hike.
Yeah, but super nice, and then close enough to the water to do quick snorkel trips in lunch break, which was really nice. And and then the one morning we ran, we did a run to that area where the river meets the sea. That was really cool. This guy, a local who sells sunglasses, was telling us it's a very spiritual place, and you'll go there and you expect people to be doing yoga and stuff.
Yeah, sort of along the beach at Estartit. If you go for 3 or 4 Ks, then you arrive at this massive river that goes into the ocean.
We didn't see anybody
lots
doing
of bird
yoga.
life and fish jumping. It's quite a cool place.
Yeah, it's a reserve. So that was super cool. I quite enjoyed seeing that. So there was a lot to see around the area. Around work time, which was really cool.
We did a bit of paddle boarding and snorkeling.
Yeah.
What was quite interesting when we were paddling to this one snorkeling area, we ended up sort of in the middle of the sea, and then there was a fin that came past us, and we thought, what the heck is that? We're not 100% sure, but it was probably a sunfish.
Yeah.
Could have been a shark, but I don't think.
But then
so.
a shark with a very floppy,
floppy fin.
Which I think
but it was
is
quite a
unlikely.
big fin. We were for a second thinking,
yeah, we
whoa.
were soaking. We were trying to get closer to it, and then a boat came past and it swam away. So that was lame. But yeah, that was cool. And yeah, I think despite the heat, we managed quite well there.
Yeah,
the solar worked out.
It's perfect. You can get quite a good draft through the van if you open the windows. So you can get some nice fresh air. Yeah. If you pick a spot that's got some trees, it makes it a bit cooler. So that works out pretty well.
Yeah. And then the week ended really quickly. It was just
we had
that.
We had a solid work week. Got all
week.
the work we needed to do done.
And then finished it off with trying the local tapas. One last big paddleboard mission on the Saturday. And then we had to decide where to go to next. Stay in Spain, go to France. What's your bet? If you've watched our shorts, you probably know where we are, but if you haven't watched them, where do you guess we went?
I'd say all in all, first week of work from the van was a big success. We both concluded that it didn't interrupt anything at all. We had good internet connection. The solar panels did work despite that we were partly in the shade and the dust on the solar panels.
Enough to plug in.
So all in all, yeah, it was really good.
Really cool.
We had a great time.
Yeah.
And now we're in a new area, which you can't see. but it's very nice.
Yeah.
But stay in touch, and we'd love to hear if you've got any questions or any comments about anything, or if you've been to some of the areas we've been to, feel free to comment in there.
Yeah. Cool. See you next time.
Ciao.